So I bet if you know my videos, you're probably thinking increased calories, he's gonna talk about reverse dieting again, but that's actually not the case. And I gotta tell you, I'm really excited to talk about this new research that came out that shows that it might actually be possible to increase calories and lose body fat. So make sure you stick around. Hey, this is Colin DeWaay. If you want to master your metabolism and create forever results, start now by subscribing and click on that bell notification so you don't miss anything. Alright, I'm constantly talking about the benefits of eating a high protein diet when it comes to body composition, and that's because there's so many benefits to it. Between the super high thermic effect of food it has, which basically means that your body burns a lot of calories processing the food you eat. It's also what builds and maintains lean body mass, and the more lean body mass you have, not only does this help with body composition, but it also increases your metabolism, and it's also by far the most filling macronutrient, so it helps you feel full, which during times of dieting when calories are lower is going to help you stick to the plan and not feel so hungry. Well, there's this new study that came out that was actually done by my professor who taught my course of the science of weight management at USF, Dr. Bill Campbell, and they took resistance trained females, and I love that they did females because so much of the research is done in males, and sometimes I think we make the argument, well, it might be different for females, so we can scratch that off for this one. And what they did is took people for 8 weeks, and they had one group which increased their protein intake up to around 1 gram per pound of body weight, which that's what I typically recommend for most people, which also resulted in an increase of about 250 calories per day. And then they had the other group which reduced their protein intake to around about 1/2 gram per pound, and this resulted in an average of about a 300 calorie decrease per day for these individuals. And the fascinating thing about this is both groups actually lost body fat. The group that decreased their protein as well as their calories lost about 1%, whereas the group that increased their protein, which also resulted in an increase of calories, actually lost about 2%. So the group that ate more protein and actually ate more calories than they were eating before lost more body fat than the group that actually reduced their calories with a lower protein diet. Do you see why I'm always harping on the importance of eating plenty of protein? It's so helpful and it's so powerful. It has so many processes to go through. It's really difficult to store as body fat, and it can really help with burning body fat, not to mention building more muscle. And this is what we mean when we say things like not all calories are created equal. And I still think that total calories is probably the most important thing here, but protein isn't too far behind as a close second. And this goes pretty well in line with a couple other studies I want to briefly talk about. One that compared eating a super high protein diet to more of a regular, normal kind of rough 1 gram per pound of body weight diet. And the difference between the groups was, on average, the lower protein group ate about 138 grams of protein per day, whereas the higher protein diet ate a whopping 307 grams of protein per day, which was around about 2 times their total body weight. So here's the thing, there was no significant difference between the two groups in terms of body weight, lean body mass, and fat mass, but the group that ate the higher protein diet ate on average about 800 calories more than the lower protein group without gaining more body fat. Now, we always have to think about everything, and there could be some underreporting and things like that, so it's not perfect, but I think it's pretty clear to see they ate way more protein without adding more body fat. And on top of that, this paper that showed when people overate normal intake on protein, they didn't gain excess body fat. So what does all this tell us? Well, at a minimum, I think we can safely say if you eat a high protein diet and you resistance train, it's pretty unlikely you're gonna gain body fat, and you may even lose body fat. Now, does that mean I recommend increasing calories to eat more protein to lose body fat? I don't know that that's necessarily the best strategy ever, but I think it does show why it's not uncommon for people who have been eating a lower protein diet and don't really make any changes to their total calories, but now start eating a lot more protein to make up those calories. They tend to see nice changes in body composition and lose body fat because of just how powerful protein is. To me, in all likelihood, to be able to see the best results, you're probably going to have to, over time, bring your total calories down with the higher protein intake. But it's also nice to know that if you are eating extra protein, it's probably not going to make you gain any more body fat. That being said, just focusing on eating more protein, especially if you're not eating a whole lot now, and especially if you're not tracking, if nothing else, this will help you feel less hungry and therefore in turn probably eat less calories and start seeing better results in combination with the physiological benefits that come along with it. And I think another great practical application for this is if you find yourself in a situation where you're just super hungry and you feel like I have to eat or I'm just not going to make it here, well, a pretty safe overeat is probably eating more protein. And not only is it a safe overeat in terms of you probably won't gain additional body fat, and even if you do, it's going to be very minimal, but it's also going to help fill you up and make you feel less hungry way more than anything else. And I think sometimes we need to check ourselves because there is a difference between hunger and cravings. And I think oftentimes we confuse hunger with just wanting to eat a bunch of junk or something that's more calorie dense and tasty. So if you find yourself in a situation where you're crazy hungry, want to eat, and you think, well, I should eat more protein because it's going to help fill me up and be safer, but you're like, no, I don't really want to eat protein. I only want to eat more if I'm going to be able to eat the donuts that I want or something like that. Well, now you really got to check yourself. But yeah, I think that can be a great strategy. If you're super hungry, eat a big serving of egg whites or skinless chicken breast or skinless turkey breast or tuna and white fish or things like this that are super high protein, almost no carbs or fat, and will help fill you up. Now here's what I want you to do next. If you're struggling to lose the love handles or really any stubborn body fat at all, then make sure you check out this top video next and I'll walk you through everything you need to know. Otherwise, I think you'll like this bottom video instead. If you have any questions, leave them in the comments below and I'll see you in one of those other videos.